In 2023, global average temperatures exceeded the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold set by the Paris Agreement for the first time in recorded history. The language used to discuss this fact varies enormously depending on who is speaking.
Today, at C1 level, we examine how different stakeholders, scientists, politicians, economists, and activists use the same data to make opposing arguments, and we give you the vocabulary to engage with all of them. Welcome to Advanced English in Context. Climate change discussion at C1 requires mastery of hedging language, the vocabulary of uncertainty, and the rhetoric of policy debate.
Conversation 1. A panel debate between an economist and a climate scientist. Conversation 2. A policy briefing between a minister and an advisor.
At C1, you are expected to understand nuance, express disagreement diplomatically, and defend a position with evidence.
Economist, Dr. Chen. The fundamental tension in climate policy is between the short-term economic costs of decarbonisation and the long-term economic costs of inaction. Neither side of this debate is being fully honest about both halves of that equation.
Climate scientist, Dr. Mills. I would push back on that framing. The science does not give us the luxury of treating this as a balanced equation. We are talking about potential civilizational risk, not a cost-benefit spreadsheet.
Dr. Chen. With respect, that framing, civilizational risk, is precisely the kind of language that shuts down productive policy conversation. People hear that and disengage.
Dr. Mills, or it accurately reflects the stakes. The IPCC does not use that language lightly. My concern is that economic framing consistently results in policies that are technically feasible but climatologically insufficient. C1 debate vocabulary. I would push back on that framing. This is a high-level way to disagree. You are not rejecting the content. You are rejecting how the argument was constructed.
With respect, in British English, this signals genuine disagreement delivered politely. It is not sycophantic. It says, I hear you, and I disagree.
The luxury of as in we do not have the luxury of treating this as implies that an option exists, but circumstances make it irresponsible to take it.
Minister, James, walk me through the carbon pricing proposal again. The opposition is calling it a tax on ordinary families.
Advisor, Elena, the framing is misleading. Carbon pricing targets emissions at the point of production, energy companies, manufacturers. Families receive dividends from the revenue. The net effect on low-income households is neutral to slightly positive.
James, the messaging problem is that carbon tax polls terribly. Can we rebrand it?
Elena, we could call it a clean air fee with household rebate. But I would caution against cosmetic rebranding. The substance needs to be defensible, and if it is, the language will follow.
James, fair point. What is our strongest counter to the economic harm argument? The framing is misleading. At C1, you attack the structure of an argument, not just its content. This is a higher-order debating skill.
The substance needs to be defensible, one of the most useful lines in policy language. It separates message from reality and insists on reality first.
Polls terribly. Informal political language meaning public opinion surveys show strong disapproval. Used in strategic conversations.
I would push back on that framing.
We do not have the luxury of treating this as a balanced equation.
The substance needs to be defensible, and if it is, the language will follow.
With respect, I think that characterization is incomplete.
What does push back on the framing mean in a debate context?
It means you are challenging how the argument was constructed, the assumptions behind it, rather than just disagreeing with the conclusion.
What is carbon pricing?
A policy that puts a direct price on greenhouse gas emissions to make polluting more expensive and incentivize cleaner alternatives. Today you learn the vocabulary of C1 climate policy debate, from technical terms like decarbonisation and carbon pricing to rhetorical tools like framing and hedging.
The key C1 skill: separate the argument from its framing. The strongest debaters control how the question is asked, not just how it is answered.
Next episode, negotiating a salary increase, the exact phrases for your most important professional conversation.